good people. My name is Brenda Mahlobo. Thank you for stopping by. And if you just happen to come across this video because you were searching some Father's Day content or whatever type of content, and then this popped up on your feed, please do consider staying by hitting the subscribe button. It is absolutely free. You're not going to pay any subscription fee. A few disclaimer: I am seated just across the door, and the door is opened for lighting, and it's a bit windy outside. I guess we are now approaching Untulikazi, as it is Untulikazi being the month of July. So I guess Untulikazi is a bit early this side of the country. So there's like a huge tree over here, and it's windy, and the leaves are making noise. So, and I just hope it's not going to be too much, so that, you know, it's not going to be too much, so that I come across as clear as I'd like to actually be. And yeah, I don't have any canceling microphone or whatsoever that is going to be canceling the sound. But without wasting time, I'm excited that I'm filming. However, I'm not excited because I am going to be touching on this subject, under these circumstances, because my father is no longer with us. If he was still here, it would be like too exciting for me to actually record this video and touch on the type of person that my father was, but moreover the type of leader or man that he was. Yeah, but then I get to do this video. It's just, so coincidental that today is Father's Day, and that has sort of had me like pushing for this video to be recorded today, so that I post it today for it to be a Father's Day content. But I've been prompted actually for past couple of days. There's one thing about me though. Once I get excited over something, or I have this idea that I'm passionate about, or a subject that I'm actually, want to address, I don't mind talking by myself. My son can tell you a lot about that. I've been like having these conversations while driving to work. I'd have these revelations while I unpack different topics and things like that. But what prompted this discussion like recently is because I recently registered a company, and the name of the company is called Sports Tongue SA. I am going to tell you guys more about it once my website is up and running. I am so excited. I feel so accomplished, and there was just so much that incident reminded me of my father. I lost my father last year, July. I'm also going to be eating. I have not eaten as yet. So I have my just normal Sunday lunch. I've got beef here, just beef stew, and then I've got pumpkin and I've got rice. So this is also not like pre-planned or anything. It's because I'm trying to maximize time. I'm hungry. I want to film, and I don't want to make this video too serious. So I just thought I might as well just eat while I film, because I've been cooking. And I was so intentional about filming today. I'm still am going to film something else, a Shein haul. But I just thought, why not talk about this? I lost my father last year, July, like February, March, April, May, June. So like 5 months after I lost my brother. So my life sort of like, there was this huge vacuum. Like, here are these two pillars in my life, men in my life that I look up to for different reasons. And then they are just taken away from me within a space of like a mere 5 months. And it still is, it was a bit of a huge, deal for me. It was a big, I don't know. So I spoke at the funeral. I spoke on my father's funeral. I was speaking on behalf of his children, and I'm going to touch on the things that I said then, and then make them, just link them back into why am I saying that me registering a company sort of like made me, remember him or think of him and how proud he'd be and how so much of my father's traits are in me. It's crazy. So I said to the audience or whatever congregation that was attending my father's funeral that I'm grateful for one thing. I'm grateful that I am my father's daughter. In so many ways, my father, every time I met my father, so I didn't stay with my father like full time, but I could access him. He'd come over as well, like in a space of like every 2 months or sometimes after 3 months and things like that. But whenever I saw my father, he had a new idea that he was working on, something he wanted to implement, something that excited him. And he'd talk about it. His face would just lit up, and he'd talk and try and have you convinced. And that used to blow my mind. And another thing that I mentioned that I'm still going to share with you here is that my father was the most intelligent man I knew, and that is on period. He was the most intelligent man I knew. I used to say if I had a quarter of the kind of intellectual capacity that my father had, I'd still be great. Just not half of it, just a quarter of it, I'd still be amazing. Because my father was this type of man who'd give advices, could be about anything. He was just, I don't know, man. There was just something about what my father my was that often at times it would blow my mind. Ukuhlakanipha kwakhe, you would see that, you know, intellectual capacity when you're discussing like bigger things, and you'd see that, when you're discussing not so big things, but just in conversation with him, when you're not discussing any terminologies, any political terminologies or whatsoever, you'd still see, well, this is a very intellectual man. So my father, every time I met him, if it wasn't about this political party he wanted to start that was going to be different from the rest, and the type of values it was going to embody, it was about this business idea. I even made an example, Yoguti. When I started driving there, was still based in Pietermaritzburg. So even my parents were, how parents would be, nervous on your behalf, knowing you're going to be traveling, and like you'll be driving 4 hours, going to PMB, quite a busy city and things like that. And then we were having a conversation this other time, and then I told him that, I am not a Polish driver. I was not a Polish driver yet at that time. And then I just told him, but what I do, go freeway, I try and avoid the trucks for as long as I can, and then the next thing, I have arrived in my destination, so I'll try avoid trucks at all cost, and then get to my destination, without actually even having to feel that I'm actually driving. It would be, yes, that's actually what, it would be ku freeway. Uqala uthi nje balekela ama truck, uphumela I truck ungene phambili, and then you drive, and then if you have an opening, you drive on front, you overtake the other truck whatsoever, up until you get to where you're going, or you off ramp from the freeway. So I was just saying that to my dad, and my dad said to me, but you need to be cognizant, you those trucks are your protection. I don't know what about that blew my mind. What if you are in between those trucks, no one is going to touch you. They serve as your protection. I don't know what about that statement that just blew my mind. And I was like, remember, I wasn't staying with him like all the time. So I'd have this glimpse, this glimpse of intellectual capacity that he has, in different conversation. And that, for me, that stuck with me. And I think it was the second time I saw him, if it made sense. He said that to me, and I'm like, wow, this guy is brilliant. Because omunye umuntu would have said, yeah, you should try and avoid the trucks so that they don't make you nervous or anything. Because, the truth is, if you are not yet acquainted with driving or anything like that, trucks are intimidating. They can intimidate you. And the least you can do, or the best you want to do to manage the situation, is to try and avoid them and get away from them in as much as you can. So now here's this man is telling me, but look, at the other side of things, these trucks are protecting you. Anyway, I said that, and I'm saying my father was not the most perfect person, emhlabeni, or father of the year, somebody I could have voted for, given an opportunity, or would he please vote for a father of the year and state your reasons. But then I said, if another opportunity were to arise where I'm asked if I would like to choose a different kind of father, I'd actually choose him. I'll still choose him. There was so much about me registering a company that just made me think, I wonder what my dad would say about this. Because, yeah, for someone else, you may be thinking, it's not a big deal. It's just registering a company. It does not mean you're going to work or anything for you. But for me, I don't know. It was so different. It made me think, oh my God, I cannot wait to have my website up and running. I can't wait to have my first client and things like that. I've got, these aspirations of actually building my company to be something I'm going to be retiring on, after working in the public service. And yeah, I do not plan to do business with the state or anything like that. My clientele is going to be in the private sector, nothing from the state. Just in case you were wondering and you're thinking, now am I going to quit my job? No, not yet. I'm not going to quit my job, not now. I'm still going to chase, I'm still going to climb that corporate ladder if an opportunity arises and things like that. And I'm also going back to school. I have registered a totally different course or degree, totally different. Totally different, and I'm excited about it, and I cannot wait to share with you guys more about it as well. But I'm just waiting for a few things to just come to play, and then perhaps we can have a conversation. And I also have this thing of not wanting to preempt things or share about things when they haven't really taken off. I'm just sharing about my company getting registered because that has taken off. I have a text number now. I'm a bit nervous and anxious. I'm thinking, what if I don't have any income that I'm making on this newly registered company? And then now I have a tax situation, SARS on my neck and things like that. But I guess it'll be just, be a matter of compliance, even though I would not have made any income whatsoever, which I don't think that's the thinking I want to occupy my mind with. Because I don't know, man. I don't know. My business is my business is different. I was telling my mother, and it's funny how that came about. Actually, the business idea or the concept is old. I can't track it back exactly like how old it is, but I think it's older than 2 years. I think it's older than 2 years. And I think when I start unpacking it and sharing it with you guys, and I'll probably touch on, if I still remember vividly why it came about, but I know why it exists. I know why my business exists. And I know how different it is. And then I was just brainstorming the names. I think last month I was brainstorming the names. And then I went on Google, just search, like randomly search, and then search for companies as well that are doing what I intend on doing with this company. And then I did not get anything. I was like, wow. But it's crazy because like a couple of days, okay, and then I came across a video because I started now searching like relevant information, how to register your business and things like that. And then I came across this awesome video that I'm going to link or just mention. When I do talk about my company in details, when I'm going to have a website link and things like that. And then I'm also thinking about the fact that it's actually off season. How perfect will it be to actually launch my company now? So you already know it's about sports and things like that. I'm I'm excited. I'm excited. I cannot wait to share with you guys. And I was just thinking, if my dad was here, I know I'd sell this idea to him, and I know he'd have like a lot of inputs, a lot of things to say. I am seeing myself living my father's life, or actually continuing with the type of person that he was when it came to business, and how much ambition he had. Every time I met my dad, there was just something he was working on, this brilliant business idea that he would share. Some would actually take off, and some, if not most, would not take off. Now I feel like I'm actually taking a leap of faith. I'm taking like few steps forward in making sure what my business idea is going to come to pass. I'm going to try and have this business function, you know, and as most I do. To be honest with you, some things are not clear. I just know I have a business idea, and then I know exactly how I want to go about functioning as a business. But there are some things that are not clear. I remember when I was registering, there's a question about shares. How many shares is this business going to offer? I was a bit not sure. I understand the term shares, but I just could not link it back to now what I want to do. I need a business mentor, and I don't think I have anybody that I know that I can approach. Not necessarily somebody who's going to be in the same business scope as the Sports Tongue SA, but a business mentor. I need a business mentor. I don't have a mentor, and I think that that particular person would play a huge role, because some things are a bit confusing, are not clear at this point. But what I'm definitely clear about is my concept, and the how, the what, the how, and the when, yes, is a bit clear. The when is actually, can actually be a bit of both. The when can be when all my page is up and running, especially the website. And then the when can also touch on the fact that when is the launch, how am I doing, how am I going to go about doing it, and things like that. I can't wait to have my first client. How am I going to grow the personnel and things like that? For now, I'm the only director in the company. I was also asked if I'm going to have any employees. Definitely going to have employees in the future, but for now I'm going to be the one running it. I can't wait. The how also is the how, just the technical part of it, a little bit clear, but it could use some polishing. And the who is quite clear. Who are my beneficiaries? Quite clear. It is as clear as crystal. I know exactly the who. And I think the marketing aspect of it is also clear. Is it going to be easy? I don't think so. If it was going to be easy, I wouldn't want to do it. I forgot that I'm eating. So be on the lookout for Sports Town SA. I'm excited about this. I was telling my mother, and my mother was just listening. And then I made examples with why I think there's a need for my business. Like my problem statement is quite clear. I have not actually put it in like, I don't have a business plan, but I'm still going to do it. You know what I mean? Also, this thing of website, I think I'm going to outsource a lot of things. Nobody says in business you have to do everything yourself. The things that I can outsource, I am going to outsource. Like if you know anybody who can do, a website for me, I'm hoping to have like a free host domain or whatever it's called, so that I don't get to, spend a lot of money, because now I'm going to be running it from my salary. And yeah, let's see where this life takes us. I am so excited. I cannot wait to talk about now what Sports Tongue SA is going to do, like in details, where the idea came from. But you definitely know it's something I'm passionate about. Anything that has to do with sports, especially football, it just makes my heart so warm. I won't even feel like I'm working. That's how it's going to be. So yeah, man, I just thought I was going to talk about my dad. We are going to have a ceremony in his behalf. It's called Umsebenzi. Just soon, in a couple of weeks from now. And still I have moments where I'm thinking, Konjo Baba, Konjang Sena Baba. You can imagine having that type of an intellectual in your life, and that now taken away. It's no longer there. Anything that you'd like to run across him, you'd ask him. Obviously not the most perfect father or anything. He had his own faults, but he was just such a think tank of a person. I remember in my previous job, there was a session I was going to do for the first time, titled "Whose Voice Do You Want to Hear in Parliament?" I remember doing the session during the training a trainer session, TOT, training of trainers, TO session. So it was given it to me to actually be the one who was going to start facilitate it and just give the inputs on how it can be made more interesting and easily relatable to our participants and things like. I remember consulting my dad, and at some point my dad told me of the terminology hang parliament. I'd have conversation with my dad when it came to politics, when it came to football. We'll discuss football formations. And I remember calling him up like, Dad, what are the pros and cons of 4-4-2? My dad would tell me it's flexible on attack, but and things like that. While it is flexible on attack, it can leave a vacuum for the midfield to be exposed, because now you have these people going forward, and then you will not have enough stability in the midfield. And then what is it that you can do to make sure that that does not happen? Come on, having those conversations with your dad, come the F on. So I no longer have that. That has been taken away from me, but I feel like they thought they were killing him. Now he's multiplying. Now I feel like he's going to live all his aspirations through me. Out of all my father's children, I think I'm the most who took after him, even when it came to being stubborn. Ngike ngibona ukuthi sengiyaxaka-ke manje, cha sengixakile. Ngibona ukuthi my mother and my sister are probably thinking it, they're not saying it, ukuthi you are just like your father. My father, if my father is at home, the neighbors are going to know. Not because they're going to see him first, they're going to hear him. He'll be talking about the things that excite him and things like that. And my father believed in a concept of ikodesa. He'd call in meetings. Those are the things I touched on as well. Uguti, he taught us by just doing. Uguti, as a family, we need to sit and discuss certain things. My father was all about kodesa. Ikodesa izohlala every after funeral or every after umsebenzi, whether we're planning umshado, whether we're doing this and that, uzohlala ikodesa. Even the youngest is going to be in that house, a 12-year-old boy or whoever. I remember sitting in those codesas ngisemncane nami growing up. Ubaba wami ucoach, he was called a coach up until his last days. Coach, people are referring to him as a coach even now. So that football aspects, the political aspects, were just gelled in so many levels. Even nokubi lokho ukuthi ubaba onekhanda eliqinile. Imagine me as a girl. Ukuthi-ke, yabo? So I don't know, I am so much of my father's daughter, and I just wanted to come up here and share this with you. And yeah, I didn't have any structures to this video or anything like that. But yeah, happy Father's Day to my late father. Hopefully wherever he is, I don't know how it works, whether he's gonna have anything to look, after me or whatever it is. But I know ukuthi yonke into angakhonanga ukuyenza in as far as like a business idea that was never realized or that never came to pass, not necessarily the exact business idea, but I'm going to be my best self. Letting yazi ukuthi beyiyona the business and the political aspect of it. By political aspects, I'm not even saying I'm going to start a political party or whatever. Still within politics, I'm going to be politically inclined. I'll have this insight because everything is about politics at the end of the day, whether you want to admit that or not. Everything is politics. Any subject can be political and whatever. So yeah, I just wanted to share that piece of my life. Yeah, and also share the fact that I registered a company that makes me excited. And yeah, thank you so much for watching, and please do give this video a thumbs up if there's something that you liked or something you related to or whatever. Leave a comment below, tell me something about your father. If you still have or you lost him, what is it that you shared in common? Could be traits or anything. What is it that used to make you guys close that nobody else had? And yeah, thank you guys so much for watching.